Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us at the MarketSite studio in Times Square, New York City, we have Conor Coughlin. He's general manager with Apex Fintech Solutions. We're going to take a look at the second quarter 2022 Apex Next Investor Outlook Survey. Conor, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited.
This is one of my favorite reports to take a look at because you look at the data of US-based investors who trade through introducing brokers on the Apex platform. So you're looking at tens of thousands of accounts, and you break them down to different generations. And I think the final results are just so interesting to discern what investors are thinking and doing. So define the four generations that are represented in this report.
For sure, and let me step back quick. So Apex is a API-based solution that, as you said, offers technology for other brokerages and wealth management firms to build on, right? So over 22 million accounts on the platform. Today we're looking at 8.5 million of those accounts in the self-directed bucket. The four generations we're looking at are going to be your Gen Z, which are 25 and younger, your Millennial, which will be 25 to 41, your Gen X, which is 41 to 57, and finally your Baby Boomers, which is 57 to 76.
So it's a massive representation of our population. I found it really interesting because the top 10 stocks held were consistent across all four generations. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we actually weren't very surprised by that. I think that the media over the last 2 years have really painted retail investors as risk-seeking traders, but it's Apex's firm belief that the access we're creating is used responsibly by these younger generations of traders. And if you look at an older generation, they might be using the Wall Street Journal or Financial Times to get their information. The ways younger generations are getting their information is changing. You might use Protocol or Finimize, maybe Zogo, to educate yourself, but the content and information is the same. It's just delivered in new ways.
Yeah.
And so it really doesn't surprise us that you're seeing consistent holdings, especially in a volatile market.
Yeah, and to your point, most of them were Nasdaq 100 large cap. You know, these are companies that are the blue chips of the Nasdaq 100, if you will, not more riskier assets. To your point before, let's talk about some of the categories because travel demand is returning to pre-pandemic levels, but Gen Z indicated that they're not impressed with that. Why do you think that's the case?
Yep, I think this is for two reasons. The first is we see younger generations trade on affinity for brands, products, services that they know and love. And if you look at airline travel this year in particular, I don't think anyone will say that's been a great experience with labor shortages, delays, lost baggage. The second piece is COVID. So even as younger investors are going to rotate to recession-proof or safe haven names, COVID brings a big volatility or uncertainty to the airline stocks that I don't think younger generations have gotten comfortable with.
Let's talk about recession for a moment. How do younger investors feel about that, and where are they finding safety?
So I can't say exactly how they feel, but I can tell you how they're acting. And it goes back to my point earlier that these younger generations are well informed and they're trying to set themselves up for financial well-being. And so when you see the names they're going into, these are, again, names that they have affinity towards. So it's McDonald's, Walmart, Verizon, Pepsi. It's these larger brands they know and love that are safer and away from these high-growth tech stocks that they've been known to get into over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. How did the different generations approach crypto?
So we're actually super excited. This is the first time we're including crypto in the report. And so it's about 4.5 million crypto-enabled accounts that we're looking at. And very similarly to what we're seeing in traditional securities, as a recession approaches or there's volatility in the market, we're seeing rotation back to those more blue chip names. And so you see a lot of younger investors getting into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're seeing, on average about 1,000 new positions established per day in each of those two coins. The amount invested per trade is actually going down slightly, so we believe they're optimistic on the coins for the future, but they're proceeding with a little bit more caution in this new space.
Let's talk about Tesla for a moment because it was ranked either number 1 or number 2 across all four generations, while Twitter did not make the top 20. So how do you think investors feel about, Tesla CEO Elon Musk's proposal to buy Twitter?
Yep, and we're actually excited about this. So Twitter did jump about 50 spots in the rankings from around 100 to number 50 across Gen Z, Millennial, and Gen X. And the key we're seeing here is that in the face of a recession or a down market, plus you have a good offer from Elon for Twitter, we think that a lot of people are looking to generate alpha in that investment. I want to caveat, though, that the results stop at the end of the second quarter. And so as we head into a prolonged legal battle here, we're super excited to see what the third quarter brings and how people react to what's going on in the market today.
That will be interesting, and I look forward to covering that. Conor, thanks so much for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.